All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are starting our race weekend. Purple Sector Racing League. We are starting the F1 Season 15 Race Weekend 2 here in Japan. We're going to go ahead and run pretty quickly through team uh, the team drivers and points here. Looks like I did not update these, but for Alpine, we do have Rebel and Boilers fan. Both of these drivers, unfortunately, not scoring last weekend. Rebel did have some issues with his wheel setup. Fortunately, those have been pointed out and fixed for this weekend going into Japan. This driver hoping to return and score some good points. Boilers fan going to be joining us a little bit later into the qualifying session. Heading over to the Aston Martin team here, we do have Nander and Cubics. Unfortunately, Nander not joining us this weekend. Excuse me. But Cubics heading into Japan. Hopefully, all of these drivers heading into some tracks that they actually know. The Mad Ring, unfortunately, not treating any of our drivers too fairly. Snipes could say otherwise here. Speaking of Snipes, heading over to take a look at the Audi team. Get this loaded up here. The Audi team. Snipes leading the Drivers' Championship with 30 points in the race win last weekend. Williams sitting with 16 points, his teammate here. Jumping over to the Cadillac team. Focoina, unfortunately, looks like he is not joining us tonight. Jabor hoping to score some good points again at another track that this driver does know. Jumping over to the Ferrari team here. Both of these drivers showing some excitement in the chat, saying they are hoping to score some good points here. Mahmoud scoring 18 points last weekend, just barely missing out on the podium in Madrid. Sister team Haas, Hatfield and Sakizo, both of these drivers here this weekend. Oh, there we go. Hatfield, unfortunately, not joining us last weekend. Hero in the chat saying, let's get it Cadillac. Absolutely. Team driver on vacation, or excuse me, team principal on vacation here, still joining in the chat and showing support here. Sakizo scoring 14 points last weekend. Awesome scoring for the Haas team. Unfortunately, Bryce not able to join last weekend. Jumping over to the McLaren team. Unfortunately, these drivers scoring no points last weekend. No Cap and Boss not able to score anything. We are going to be missing Mr. Boss and No Cap this weekend. Heading over to the Mercedes team, we do have an announcement. Always Gaming joining us as a full-time driver, heading into the second weekend with 8 points under his reserve. So unfortunately, those points won't be transferred over. But Mini B-Man scoring 10 points last weekend. Very good start for the Mercedes team here. Racing Bulls. JM and Samad, unfortunately, not scoring last weekend, but Samad looking forward to scoring this weekend. The Racing Bulls driver, of course, falling just shy of winning the Drivers' Championship last season. Red Bull team, Mac, unfortunately not scoring any points last weekend due to not having internet, but this weekend they were able to get him set up, I believe, just this morning. Excuse me. The driver able to set a few laps heading into the session here. Despy scoring 21 points, getting on the podium. Fantastic weekend for him, and a good weekend start for the Red Bull team. Williams, unfortunately, neither of the drivers joining us tonight, Prosk and FIFA Teddy. Of course, having us in Japan this weekend, we will have Brazil next weekend with a sprint race and a double points weekend. Let's go ahead and jump over here. Should be able to... Let's fix the audio capture here. Should be able to hear the audio now. go ahead and remove that and reset that. But yeah, no driver currently setting a lap time at the moment. There we go. That was able to fix the audio. Let's go ahead and get the UI set up here. All of the drivers heading out on the soft tire. A lot of the drivers did head out last weekend on some of the harder compounds rather than the soft tire, just to kind of learn the track during the session. Let's go ahead and pop up the mini-map here. Get this out of the way. Don't know exactly which drivers are about to set laps here, but it looks like Despy is on the outlap heading into the end of Sector 3. The Red Bull driver, of course, scoring on the podium last weekend, hoping to duplicate those results. Heading into the very, very interesting corners here. Let's go ahead and get an invite sent out to a couple of our drivers. Got Focoina needing an invite, as well as Rory. Invites are sent out to both of those drivers here, so it looks like we will have 17 attending this race weekend. Fortunately, some of our drivers missing out due to vacations and moving and things of that nature. Of course, we do understand here at PSRL, everybody's got a life outside of the league here. Rebel's setting the fastest time so far at a 1:29.5. Driver explaining that he did have a ton of frustration last weekend, but he did have his wheel settings incorrect. Looks like he was able to remedy some of those. Getting almost a half second faster than P2 at the moment. MSA Samad at 1:29.9. William currently sitting in P3 with the Ferrari teammates in P4 and P5, just over a tenth between one another. Cubic and Fort Dude, the Aston Martin drivers this weekend, sitting behind one another, or behind the Ferrari drivers rather. I think they may get split up with that lap time difference of about 7/10 here. Despy finally heading into, heading into the final corners here, setting a lap time of 1:29.8, splitting the MSA Samad and Rebel duo at the top here. Very, very nice lap by the Red Bull driver. Looks like Jabor is also setting his lap now, heading into turn 1-2. Cadillac driver hoping to score some good points this weekend. Of course, race weekend 1, everybody has to get those jitters out, but heading into the second weekend, everybody hoping to score some points and start the season off pretty well. Taking a lot of these corners pretty well with the onboard here. Let's head on to another camera. Boilers fan, you're absolutely welcome. As we do have him joining the session, we'll go ahead and get Focoina another invite here. Sending that driver another invite. Hopefully they got that one. Able to join the session here. Going to go ahead and send an invite to the Porpoise. Or a message, rather. There we go. All right, back to Jabor as he is about to cross the line here. Going 10th fastest, a 1:31.1. Good first lap for the Cadillac driver. 10 minutes left in the session here, so he will be back at it, hoping to set a faster lap. Wonder if he may stay out. I don't know exactly how much fuel most of these drivers head out with, but I tended to head out with enough for one push lap, or excuse me, one out lap, one push lap, and then an out and push lap again if I really needed it. Of course, including that in lap as well. To update us, we do have Williams splitting the Despian Rebel duo at the top here with a 129.556. Very, very close to setting the fastest lap of the session here. Looks like MSA Samad did just have a moment, unfortunately losing it heading into Sector 2. I know personally I've had a lot of struggles with those curbings there. Those will always take you out. Looks like William may be heading into the pits here based off his lap time, and indeed he will be. Let's see what Jabeur does. The full battery here, losing it on the exit. Does decide to go out. We will go ahead and ride on board with this driver here. Very, very unfortunate moment here with a collision between Boilers and Jabeur. I was muted there for a moment, unfortunately not able to commentate the exact moments. I'm sure the stewards will be able to have some comments about that this weekend. Looks like Cubics is on a lap here. We'll go and ride on board with the Aston Martin full-time driver. Rory, another collision with Gunner. Don't know if this driver is struggling on the track. Hero saying, looks like a tight grid battery strategy will be fun to watch. Absolutely, sir. Very, very close grid here. It looks like P1 through P9 are within about a second of one another. I have to take that back as Rebel sets the fastest time, a 129.228. Cubics able to improve his time by just under a tenth. Unfortunately, not improve his position, sitting just behind the Ferrari drivers. As we jump on board with Sakizo heading into 130R, the big left-hander famously known for Fernando Alonso's comment, I knew he would stop, I knew he would brake, he had a family. Absolutely cold messages from Fernando Alonso. Sakizo heading across the final bit of track here. Did improve his position into P12. A lot of these drivers sitting on, and we will be now on board with Focoina, the Porpoise, in the Cadillac. Getting a message, Mini B-Man needs an invite here. We'll go ahead and invite him real quick. Focoina heading up into 130R, running out of battery, just heading into the left-hander. still maintaining speed pretty well here as he heads into the right and left-hander. Pushing through the final course of the track, going P9, setting a lap of 134. Oh, Mac needs an invite. Well, I do not see him online. I'm not sure if anybody else can get him an invite in the session here. 4 minutes left in the session. Hopefully we can get him in so we can set another lap. Really want to see this driver on track. I'm going to say Samad heading into the final couple of corners here. See what lap time. Unfortunately losing it. Not sure if that was on purpose or what. It kind of looked like it was on purpose. Either way, a fantastic execution there on sliding into the pits. Gunnar about to start his lap here. Hero dropping some knowledge in the chat. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast, indeed. Gunnar hoping to improve his position here, currently sitting in P14 with a 131.2. Heading into Sector 2, we'll give an update on his time here. Looks like he's beat it by about 8/10. This might be a belter of a lap. Alpine moving out of the way, thankfully. Gunnar would be waving if he could. Unfortunately, losing it on the exit of the hairpin there. Very, very hard to get that exit right. Might be the commentator curse. Go ahead and check and see if we can get Mac an invite here. Don't see him on EA. I see him on the Steam list. I don't know if William is currently starting his lap. Looks like he got out of the way for the Alpine driver, though. Must have been Rory. This Rebel is still on his outlap. Mini B-Man currently in P4. The 129.6. Fantastic, fantastic lap currently. Currently on his outlap here. Guess I should bring up, let me find my phone, should bring up the standings. Currently, Audi leading with 46 points, Haas sitting in P2 with 39 points, and the Red Bull team sitting in P3 with 29 points. That finishes up the podium. Mercedes sitting just behind with 22, and Ferrari right behind them with 18. No other team to score points yet in Season 15 of PSRL. That leaves Cadillac, Aston, Alpine, Williams, McLaren, and the Racing Bulls all hoping to score points for the first time. Gonna have to agree with Hero here. I think we will have a mini B-Man podium inbound as he starts his out lap here. Or excuse me, starts his hot lap. This will be the last one of the session as there is only a few seconds left. Always Gaming, his teammate, currently in P11. He is on a lap as well. That driver showing a lot of promise last weekend. One of the drivers getting out of the way, a fantastic showcase of sportsmanship and rule following here in PSRL. Mini B-Man up a 10th or so. I think it was a little over a 10th as he heads into the hairpin. Nailing the exit here, heading into the middle of Sector 2. Absolutely smashing these big left-handers. Pushing on the battery here. The back straight heading up into 130R. See here as Mini B-Man approaches the line. Crossing the final chicane, heading into the final right-hander. Deploying the last bit of his battery he will have. Hits a 129.5. He may just start in the podium if Despy doesn't have anything to say about it. Despy not improving, sitting in P5 with the 129.5. These drivers are so close in time here. If you take a look at P3 all the way through P7 within just a 10th and a half. Fantastic, fantastic showcase. Everybody putting it on the line here as Rebel goes fastest in the session, setting a 129.113. MSA Samad just behind. Taking a look at all of the starting grid positions here. Quite a few of the teams bunched up. Looks like one of the drivers we are missing at the moment is Snipes. Unfortunately not able to make it, but I'm sure we would see him at the top, if not absolutely near it. His teammate sitting in P4 at the moment. Fantastic, fantastic showcase by all of these drivers. Take a moment here to get some water. Jabbour, unfortunately, getting the backhand of EA Sports. Terrible, terrible, unfortunate event. He gets impeded and gets a 5-place grid penalty. This driver certainly not unfamiliar with the disadvantages that are racing. Going to be very exciting to see what he can do here as he posts in the chat, channeling his inner Lewis, posting a Lewis Hamilton meme. Just a few moments time. All drivers reminded that we do not have a formation lap here. Looks like we will be able to start here in just 2 minutes' time. Not sure exactly if anybody could hear me about the Lewis comments, so I will go ahead and repeat it. Jabbour saying he got impeded, receiving a 5-place grid penalty. Posting that Lewis Hamilton meme, channeling his inner Lewis, he posts. Might have to switch over my microphone here, as this one keeps muting and unmuting. See how it goes here. All right, looks like we are about to get started here. Lights and revs go up as the Alpine in the P17 disqualified from the session, reversing off the start line. I don't know if I've ever seen that here in PSRL, as Rebel getting a fantastic start. Mahmoud dropping down a few positions here. Looks like there hasn't been too much chaos as they head into the end of Sector 1. As we can see here, William up a position, Reimer up 3. Unfortunately, Mini B-Man on the start down 2 positions, but right on the rear of that Ferrari driver, heading into the hairpin here. Looked like the driver unfortunately outbroke himself. Boilers fan saying, I didn't even go backwards, I just stopped. I do think I saw a jump start penalty there, and maybe there was an issue with the stopping after the jump start. Not too sure there. Jabeur up 3 positions, essentially almost negating that 5-place grid penalty. Love to see that driver fight for that top 10 position, hopefully fighting for the end, fighting towards the end and fighting at the podium here. Looks like everybody's playing pretty fair as Rebel sets the fastest time. Not seeing too much craziness here as we head down. Doesn't look like any of the drivers are having any damage. Boilers fan saying he jumped it, so he stopped. Didn't want to cause a collision. EA thought he went backwards. WEA. Yeah, absolutely unfortunate. I wish the commentator had the ability to apply and remove penalties at ease. That would be a fantastic addition of service here. Mini B-Man on the rear of Mahmoud sitting in P6. The driver, of course, thinking of his podium. I'm gonna sit with him as I take a bite here. One of the drivers up ahead destroying one of the signs. I don't think there was any collisions there, but Despy losing 1 position to the Ferrari driver. Able to keep and defend from Mini B-Man attacking. I don't know about for how long, as Mini B-Man goes around the outside, unfortunately dropping off the track, losing 2 additional positions and losing control of the vehicle. Those medium tires getting destroyed by the grass there, as all of the drivers do pass him. He sits into the, not too sure what happened there. Maybe they had an overtake illegally. Maybe they ran out of battery. Hope Mini B-Man is able to eat back up those positions, sitting behind Hatfield here. As I accidentally take a screenshot, trying to switch drivers. Looks like William did get overtaken by the Ferrari driver. They are about to head into 130R. Big left-hander here on track. William may go for the overtake, deciding to stay behind the Ferrari driver as they head into the final chicane and the big right-hander opening up into the front straight. Very interesting start here, as I haven't seen many collision moments, but I have seen a few off-track moments. Good to see that a lot of these drivers are driving clean and overtaking in the correct positions. Gonna grab myself a water here. All right, we are back here as the front of the grid is super tight and bunched up here. P1 through P8, all within 1 second of one another. Jabeur getting a 3-second time penalty, unfortunately. Yeah, one of those other drivers punished, unfortunately, incorrectly due to EA's coding of this game. William almost losing it on the exit there. Going off track, losing a couple positions. As Mahmoud and Always Gaming do slide ahead. Despy sitting just on the rear of the Audi driver. She tries to hold position and just able to. Despy making the overtake in the big left-handers. William going a little off track as he tries to overtake heading into 130R. Looks like he will be able to get that overtake and keep it, as the battery battle goes to William. Mahmoud overtaking, heading into the first couple of corners here. Always Gaming playing good defense. No contact here as the drivers go side by side through the S's. Or rather, into the S's. Mahmoud able to take that position. Not only does his teammate lie ahead and in between him and a podium position. MSA Samad leading the pack right now, as Reimer sends it on the inside of Rebel with the switchback. Very nice move by the Alpine driver. And all of that able to stay within DRS and slipstream of MSA Samad leading the pack there. Not too sure here what the -1 on cubics means here. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the tires for everyone. Everyone's sitting on the mediums besides Hatfield 43 and the Haas here, sitting on the soft tires. Only penalized driver is SP Jabbour at the moment in the Cadillac, unfortunately sitting with a 3-second time penalty. Only driver to currently have stopped the Aston Martin of Fortitude. Was wondering why he was so far back, but I believe he was about 15 or so seconds back at the beginning. Not sure if there was a first-time collision or first time going around a corner. Tires might have been cold, might have went off track. Not too sure there. So there is a safety car heading out. Not sure exactly here why. The drivers do slow down to safety car speeds. It looks like he did not head into the pits, so there weren't any issues with the Aston. Not seeing any issues. There may be some damage on Jabbour here. Looks like his left end plate is missing. And Focoina, his whole front wing is missing. What was that? Let's take a look here at the incidents. 10-second time penalty for Williams, speeding in the pit lane. Very, very unfortunate moment. Not sure if it's showing his penalty yet here on the screen. No, it is not. There it comes. Yeah, Focoina appearing to have maybe lost the car, losing a few positions and his front wing as the safety car comes out and the grid starts to bunch up again. A lot of these drivers heading very carefully into the hairpin there. Of course, not wanting to lose any positions under safety car. Let's go ahead and take a look at the tires here. Mini B-Man. Looks like he is going to try and take advantage of these safety car conditions, potentially overtake some of these drivers ahead of him, and reduce the losses he's had so far. It looks like William heads in. I'm not sure if he's able to serve this time penalty. It looks like he is able to. This driver going to be jumping on what looks to be the hard tire compound. Yes, it is. Maybe, just maybe, he's going to be able to finish the race on these tires. A lot of these drivers hoping for a good race reset here, as I believe this is the last lap the safety car will be out. William pushing to try and catch the grid here. I think he will be able to catch it in just a short moment's time. The risk takers here at the moment, Sakizo, Mini B-Man, and Mac, all sitting on the soft tire compound, or excuse me, soft compound tires. Jabbour saying he had a great start but caught wing damage on lap 1. Very unfortunate start for the Cadillac driver, showing his debut here, I believe. I'm not too sure if Jabbour has raced here with us at Japan. He's definitely raced with us in previous seasons. Hero saying, let's go Cadillac, light little reset. Absolutely. As MSA Samad leads them through the race restart. Looks like a few of the drivers going side by side up here. Able to catch that, unfortunately. Oh, it's Always Gaming, losing a lot of positions there on the race restart. Very unfortunate, as it looks like Jabbour in Gaming had a collision here. Jabbour saying the car wouldn't turn at all in the first stint. Hopefully not having any damage. Looks like he might have another damage to his end plate. William does. And Jabbour having damage to his right side of his end plate. Looks like Always Gaming also having an issue there. Blue drivers are up to speed. Looks like they are all pushing. Mac going for the overtake, going into the first corner here, overtaking Gunner. Jabbour heading into the pits, unfortunately, probably to replace those bits of damage he had in the collision. Always Gaming having a very unfortunate debut here with us as a full-time driver. "17 or so laps to go." So it looks like Mac not able to get the position on, or excuse me, Despy not able to get the position on Cubics there, as Despy might have gotten a little warning heading into Sector 1, crossing the start-finish line. Mac setting the fastest lap as he overtakes Sakizo. Esquizo glued to his rear. Heading through the S's here. Very hard to debate what you want to do with your car under the dirty air. This Mini B-Man's right on the gearbox of Despy. Despy still not able to gain any ground on Cubix at the moment. As it looks like one of the Haas drivers, Hatfield, unfortunately had a moment, allowing Always Gaming to get by there. Maybe not allowing. Mini B-Man looks like he is able to negate some of these losses so far as he is fighting for P5. His teammate in the Silver Arrow sitting in P14 after a couple unfortunate collisions, unfortunate moments there. Looks like we have ignored the front of the pack here, as they are all still fighting and wheel to wheel, gearbox to front wing, as P1 through P10 are all within a second of one another. Mahmoud having a little bit of a moment heading into the hairpin there. Fortunately able to keep his position. Scuderia Ferrari, of course, the season champion winners last season. These title defenders hoping to gain big points this weekend, as Alpine's second driver is out, and unfortunately, Racing Bull's second driver not able to attend. Cubix losing it a little bit there on the exit. Mini B-Man's absolutely looking to take advantage of this. Of course, this driver's starting at position 3 on the grid. Going to be trying the outside here. Maybe a little bit of a switchback. Not able to get it done heading into the S's of the first sector. Team principal of Silver Arrows not able to take advantage of that little mistake there by the Aston Martin driver. Unfortunately, that driver fighting to stay within 1 second of the Ferrari driver ahead, actually gaining quite a few tenths here as Mahmoud is stuck up on Rebel here. Had a little bit of a tap there on the Alpine driver's rear, as Reimer and Samad fighting ahead. Of course, both of these drivers behind, hoping to be in that fight right now, but just fighting one another. Both of these drivers very frequent to wins here in PSRL. A podium is just not going to cut it for them. They are all going for the win. P1 through 4 regular race winners here in PSRL. P5 and 6. P5 now Mini B-Man, P6 Cubix. Both of these drivers hoping to get their first win in division, or excuse me, in Formula 1 PSRL. Reimer right on the gearbox. Both of these drivers deploying a ton of battery. Reimer running out. Not able to get the move done. Oh, collision there. Slight tap as Rebel takes advantage of the situation. Mahmoud right now just under a few tenths on the gearbox of his teammate. Somehow, just somehow, Imasei Samad able to keep it together there. So it looks like one of the Haas drivers having a moment on the final corner there. It's Jabeur hoping to take advantage. This driver just hoping to head into the top 15, hoping to gain some points this weekend. Of course, PSRL, we do give 1 through 15 points here. Did not make any changes to the point scoring system when we added the second or 11th team rather, those 2 seats. Heading back up to the front of the field, all of these drivers P1 through 7 within 1 second of one another, all fighting for the podium, all fighting for the win. As Mini B-Man, one of the first to pit here. We'll jump on board and see what tires the Silver Arrows have ready for him. Looks like those are... Actually, can't tell from this angle. I believe those might have been hard compound tires. So they are. Mac also heading in, getting those brand new hard tires as well. Those drivers hoping to finish out the race with those. As long as no safety cars, all of these other drivers most likely looking to finish on the tires they are, besides Sikizo and Fortitude. Going to be a little bit hard here on the hard tires. Sikizo showing great racecraft there. Able to stay on the rear of the Williams, passing him through the hairpin. William heading into the left-hander 130R, overtaking the Aston Martin driver Fortitude. These drivers heading into the final chicane here. Not sure if Fortitude is able to get that position back as William just disappears into the distance. Both of these drivers sitting pretty low on their battery. Mini B-Man overtaking Sikizo in the pits as he jumps in to get on the hard tires. So it looks like Mini B-Man approaching Fortitude just ahead. A driver on the 12-lap old mediums. Those tires have got to be struggling here. As Mini B-Man hoping to not lose any time. Hits a little bit of the grass there, just able to keep his speed and avoid any contact. As Fortitude unfortunately missing the track there. Heading off, Mac just behind here. Aston Martin driver, it looks like he was going to get out of the way, but here we go. So he does head off track again. Those tires have to be just absolutely brutal. This driver hoping to just make it to the pits here. Sikizo also on those fresh hard tires, heading up to the driver in P12. Go ahead and jump back up front as Reimer is ahead at the moment in P1. Imse Samad sitting in P2 with Mahmoud in P3. Rebel just 4/10 behind. Despy following with Cubics just behind him. Focoina currently sitting in P7. Great showcase by the Cadillac team here. Unfortunately, Jabeur having the absolute opposite weekend. Just unfortunate moment after unfortunate moment, starting and qualifying with an undeserved penalty given to him by the game. Looks like Samad might be losing the slipstream here. So tries to maintain some of his battery, but he does gain a few tenths there. Looks like the only driver missing out at the moment is Rebel. Not sure exactly what the yellow flag here is. The way these tires make it to the end, whoever pits first is going to benefit a lot, says the other commentator here. The last stint strategy. Rebel losing the car a little bit there. Able to keep it together heading into the final corner. Gonna have to agree with Hero in the chat here. This is going to be a little nuts as Hatfield does not finish the race. It might have been him who had that yellow flag there. Despy and Kubiks on each other's rears, right behind Rebel. You can hear the revs just behind him. As it looks like Despy not able to get the move done. A little bit of racing contact there. Driver able to keep his position. Does have more battery than Kubiks. As Rebel is showcasing his defensive abilities. Kubiks shows face here. As these drivers are going side by side heading into the first corner. Kubiks falling behind. I think this driver just electing to stick around and not cause any collisions. Allow these other drivers to tag him along. Pull him along. Just 6 laps left here. Kubiks makes the move on Despy. Looks like he might be able to make it stick here. He does. Now making the move on Rebel. Pushing the driver a little wide there on the exit. And losing the car. Oh, there. has to go his front wing as Focoina overtakes. Gunner just behind. And Kubik's retiring from the session. The car has to be trashed there. All of these drivers getting a position here due to the unfortunate moments with the Aston Martin driver. Looks like he was able to pull over just ahead there. Oh my gosh, what an insane, he did 2 insane overtakes into this left-hander right here, and then he loses it on the final exit. Very, very unfortunate moment for the Aston Martin full-time driver. Looks like Fort Dude is still in it though, so the Aston Martin team will be scoring points this race weekend. Hero saying brutal. Yes, it was so insane. Absolutely heartbreaking moment for the Aston Martin team. Kubik saying, dude, such a move. He got so eager. It was insanely well. And he hit the overtake button too early, it looks like. Very, very unfortunate moment. 2 awesome overtakes, and just like that, they are all taken away. Very unfortunate moment for the Aston Martin driver. Fantastic weekend other than that small moment. Just goes to show how precise you have to be through every second of this race. Went from hero to zero in less than a second. Yeah, very, very tough weekend, but I don't doubt that Brazil, with its sprint weekend and double points, will benefit you immensely, as Audi looks like they will be the first to head in. Jumping on the soft tires and replacing the front wing. Surprised the safety car didn't come out there. As William comes out on these soft tires in P11. 9 seconds behind Sakizo on the hard tires. I'm going to say Samad and Reimer fighting very close for the win here. Heading into the final laps. We're going to see a lot of those moments as these drivers, it looks like they're going to try and make these tires stick until the end. I am surprised to see Despy and Rebel falling behind. Not sure if these drivers had a couple of moments to fall about 6 seconds behind the pack. But Focoina finishing up that big gap there as he is in P6. Mahmoud not able to take advantage of the situation there, not just yet. So it looks like he goes into a switchback here. Smart backing out of that corner. Hero says Mini B-Man's the guy to watch as he's on the 8-lap old hard tires. The freshest set in comparison to the front 7 drivers at the moment. Looks like Mahmoud getting very, very close to the rear of Samad. Not able to make it stick. As Mini B-Man is doing the same to Gunner here, heading into and across the start-finish line. Take a look here as Rebel shows a 3-second time penalty along Sakizo and Jabur. Williams setting the fastest lap, sitting in P11 still. I think he is on those soft tires indeed. Take a look at the time position change, or excuse me, the position changes here as Matt gets a 3-second time penalty alongside those other drivers. Hunting in these final laps. Was able to negate some of this damage he incurred on the first quarter of the race. Looks like someone is having issues on track. Rebel getting another 3-second time penalty. This Mini B-Man, the hope is starting to glint and glisten in his eye. Focolina P6 just ahead here. You can tell he is a lot more confident heading through some of these sectors, and definitely through the first sector. Getting about a half-second on Focolina as we jump on board with the Porpoise driver, heading into the hairpin of Sector 2 at the moment. Say Samad and Reimer fighting at the front here. As Mahmoud is closing just behind. He's going to be going. Oh my goodness, 3 wide into 130R as Reimer backs out. Oh my goodness. That was insane. Who is that driver ahead? It looks like it might be Always Gaming as, oh my goodness. MSA Samad having a horrible collision. It looks like it was with Always Gaming. Oh my goodness. We absolutely need that POV. That was insane. That was crazy. MSA Samad having a terrible, terrible crash there. Wow, 1 lap left in the session. Mini B-Man sitting in P6. I don't believe he's going to overtake Focolina this session. Gunner sitting just behind. Going a little wide there. Almost 10 more lap old hard tires. Oh, as Mini B-Man gets a 3-second time penalty, he's going to lose that position to Gunner. Focolina is going to head up into P4 as well as he crosses the line. Rebel receives his 2 3-second time penalties. Very crazy, crazy moments as MSA Samad, Reimer, Mahmoud all fighting heading into the first corner, making contact with Always Gaming. MSA Samad, the victim of that incident. Wow. But yeah, at the moment, as the podium stands, Despy getting back-to-back P3s. Reimer getting a vengeful finishing P2 in comparison to his DNF last weekend. And Mahmoud getting P1, his well-deserved race win. Taking a look at the two Ferrari drivers on the podium alongside the Red Bull driver. Looks like we have William did maintain that fastest lap. And Gunnar getting driver of the day with the most overtakes committed by Mini B-Man. Very, very good weekend for Mini B-Man, all things considered, starting in P3, dropping down to, I believe, P17. A few of the drivers unable to finish the race. And it looks like it did classify MSA Samad. So he will still get points for this weekend. Still a terrible, terrible moment there. Mahmoud back to the top. Wild Hero comments on the Twitch stream. Yeah, awesome to see the Scuderia, of course, as the team principal. Seeing them on the podium is fantastic. Yeah, very, very good and action-packed weekend here in Japan. We will see you guys in Brazil next week. 7 days time. Brazil will also have one of our special events, that being a sprint and a double points weekend. A lot of these drivers encouraged to show up and at least place. Mahmoud commenting, what a race. A fantastic showcase by a lot of these drivers. A shame for some of these drivers having big, big, unfortunate moments. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will catch you guys in Brazil next weekend. I've been Money the Merchant, and we'll catch you at PSRL next time. Thank you.